We are now in the third part of our lecture on Sartre. Here we get to the beginning of an existentialist ethics. When one chooses for oneself, one chooses for all human beings. Oneself is always in relation to others. And there are three existentialist moods. They are anguish, abandonment, and despair. It would seem that Sartre paints a thoroughly individualistic and lonely picture of each individual isolated unto themselves and choosing their own values for themselves. But that is not so. We are always in the presence of and are conscious of others, even when we do not see them. And the beginning of existentialist ethics is precisely there. Sartre initiates this line of thought with a statement. When an individual chooses for themselves, they choose for all individuals. This is a structure of existence, a feature of our human situation, and it is experienced by us intuitively in three distinct but related moods. The three moods are anguish, abandonment, and despair. A mood is different from an emotion. Emotion is in relation to something specific, some object, event, or person. We know what the emotion is about. A mood, on the other hand, is in relation to everything and is about nothing in particular and everything at the same time. It is in relation to existence itself and its structures. Existentialist mood of anguish, the first existentialist mood, is due to that is due to our consciousness of that our choices sets an example for others how to choose. Our consciousness of all our choices is such that our choices set an example for others how to choose. By choosing something, I communicate to everyone that it is fit for human beings to choose what I chose, and that what I chose is good. This is so because there are no set standards of what is good. Due to that, it is our choices that create such standards. And so any choice is fair game, but especially those that actually are chosen and that we see. When I see someone make a choice, I think that I can make that choice too and consider making it. And I know that others do the same when they see me make choices. When I drop trash on the lawn as I walk through a park, I recognize that others may do the same. And especially now that they may have seen me do it, or even if they haven't seen me do it, I still have that realization. When I cut off someone on the highway, I become aware that others may do the same. And especially now, after I have done it. Murderers and thieves are full of anguish that others may do the same as they. Every one of my choices is experienced in the mode of, what if everyone else does the same? Is what I'm doing really good enough for everyone to do the same as well? Second mood, existentialist mood of abandonment, is due to that it is always ultimately on one's own that one decides what to do. Even here, others are present, however, in the mode of that they cannot help us. In order to feel alone in making decisions, one is aware of that others cannot help one. Whatever advice or directives a person gets from others, or any source of authority about what is right to do and the right way to live one's life, one would not go along with them if their advice does not conform to that person's own values and beliefs about how to live their life and choose what to do. So, in the final analysis, it is always oneself that chooses what to do, according to one's own values, fully aware that those values are contingent and arbitrary and could have been other, and that one can still, at any moment, choose to live according to a different set of values. Sartre says that we choose advisors to whom we listen according to what we want to hear, according to our values, or we choose not to heed advice that does not conform to our values. Every claim about values always comes to us in the mode of, but is that true? And it is a question that we always answer according to the values that we choose, rather than according to any kind of brute authority of the truth descending upon us from the outside. In this sense, again, existentialism is atheism. Each person creates their values by their choices and is fully responsible for them. And there's no God or any other authority that we can access that can relieve us of that burden and save us. The example of abandonment that Sartre gives is that of a young man during war who has to decide whether to stay at home and look after his elderly mother or join the resistance and fight the occupiers. He must make this decision alone. He will agree with whatever advisor will advise him according to what he has already decided. Whichever decision he makes is the right one. Third existentialist mood is that of despair, and it's due to that our choices are really actions. They're not just choices in our heads, but they're actions in the world. And actions involve other human beings, and even ourselves, as if we were other human beings. We really cannot exist without cooperation and participation of other human beings. We rely on that others are not going to harm us and that others will assist us according to whatever promises they make to us, implicitly or explicitly. In political matters, that others will vote along with us or participate in activism along with us, that they will treat us fairly and without discrimination and taking advantage of us, or just in simple everyday matters. That the food sold to us is as good as the sellers say, that the car drivers will drive responsibly and not run us over, that our life and business partners will keep their promises to us, etc. For all of this, we have to rely on others, and all of that is enough to fill one with despair, but existentialist despair is in addition to that kind of despair. The mood of existential despair is due to that every human being is free and creates their own values by their choices and can at any moment change their minds and their commitments on who they are simply by choosing to do so. In this sense, the others, and even I myself, are unreliable. I do not know that others will continue to act as they do, or that even I myself will do so. Freedom comes to us at that kind of a price. I may not finish the project I have already invested so much time in by simply choosing to do something else. Makes it difficult to embark on any project knowing that I may choose not to finish it. And so may others. But Sartre says, nevertheless, there are probabilities that we have to reckon with and make the best of to calculate probabilities, and we have to make our best to calculate probabilities and act accordingly, while knowing that things may turn out differently due to freedom that each human being is. Let us give a Sartrean example. One may wonder whether one is a person of courage or cowardliness. Sartre's point is that there is only the choices that one has made, but no one knows for certain how they will choose from this point forward. In that sense, one who has acted with courage can always still choose to act with cowardliness, and that is a source of despair. And one who has acted with cowardliness can still choose to act with courage, and that is a source of despair. One's freedom and responsibility are never done with and finished. A human person is not simply what they have been, they can still choose differently. And a human person is also not simply what they have been in the sense that they could have chosen differently. Nevertheless, a human person is responsible for the choices they have made and the choices they will make. I know this about myself just as I know this about all others, and it fills me with a mood of despair. The whole question of what a person is or has been, in the sense of any kind of an essence, does not make very much sense, as persons continually decide who they are by their choices and could always have chosen other than they did in fact choose. There are two senses in which human beings are dependent on one another. The physical sense, in which I have to count on reliability and cooperation from others when it comes to physical actions. But there is also a mental sense of recognition. In order for me to be who I am, others have to recognize me as such. I cannot be funny unless persons laugh at my jokes. I cannot be a husband or a lover unless my significant other recognizes me as one. I cannot be a friend unless others recognize me as their friend. I cannot be a philosopher unless others recognize and engage me as one. And others are free to recognize me as such or not, and they can change their minds. And it is precisely the freedom of their recognition that counts here. Forcing people into recognition does not count. Only freely given recognition of my jokes, friendship, etc. counts, and forced does not. It doesn't count if I force someone to laugh at my jokes. I will know that I'm not funny. And this kind of dependence on others and their ability to choose their mind at any moment is what leads us to despair, among other things that we discussed with Sartre here. Um, but as unpredictable as others are, there's always that probability, according to which they will ask in roughly the ways they have acted, according to which they are likely to keep their promises. Same goes for me myself. There's a probability with which I'm likely to act as I have determined to act. It would be too easy if it was simply that we act exactly as we said we would, or that we do not at all act as we said we would. That would be too simple. There's a probability with which one will is likely to act as one says they would, even though they may change their mind. And we are responsible for acting according to such probabilities, but then we know that things may not work out as we calculate them to probably be. And all of that is what fills us with despair.